Hello, everybody. Welcome to Vibrant Brain Wednesday. Leah here. Can't wait to see you all and talk today about how to really tap into your heart brain, because your heart is a brain. It has neurons just like the brain in your head, and it often has a much deeper intuitive wisdom. So can't wait to get started with that. I want to give you a chance to get in here, and when you do, just say hello. Tell me what you're up to, what your holiday plans are, where you're tuning in from. It's always so fun to see the reach that our community has, and who's following, and where you are, and just what you're up to in the world. Because for me, our work here at One Whole Health is really about optimizing your physicality, your brain chemistry, your body, your nutrition, your exercise, everything about your humanness, so that you can live as your spirit, live as your higher purpose, live out your passion and your purpose. And this is an incredible time in our calendar for that. As you may be aware, with 2019 coming to an end, 2019 has been a year of transition, and now 2020 is a very spiritual year. And there's a lot happening energetically in our energy field to support us to really ascension, to really rising to our highest self and rising to our higher power and a higher vibration. So key to this is definitely understanding how to tune into the energy of your heart. So do give me a comment when you get in here. I would love to hear where you're listening in from, tuning in from. But let me go ahead and start here. So the heart, as I was saying, the heart is definitely a brain. It's a brain just like the brain in your head. It's commonly called the intrinsic cardiac nervous system, and it's an intricate network, just like your brain, of complex ganglia, neurotransmitters, proteins, support cells, very, very similar to the brain in your head. And this means that not only does our brain send information to our heart, but our heart sends information to the brain. And research has actually shown that the heart sends more information to the brain than vice versa. So there's at least 40,000 neurons in the brain. And these neurons, these brain cells, in the heart, 40,000 neurons in the heart, and these brain-like cells, these neurons in the heart, can sense, they can feel, they can learn, they can remember, they can do all the things that your brain does, that your head brain does. And plus, they send messages up to the head brain about how the body feels and how to respond. And so our heart has a beat, right? Our heart has a rhythm, and and when it is coherent, the body, including the brain, really begins to experience all sorts of benefits, among them greater mental clarity, intuitive ability, better decision making, and even creativity. You're more creative when you're accessing your heart brain, and you access it through having it be in coherence. So when we experience sincere positive emotions, for example, like compassion for another person, or gratitude or appreciation, the heart processes these emotions, and then the rhythm of the heart changes. And this is the heart rate, the variable heart rate. And when this rhythm changes, it becomes more coherent and more harmonious when you're feeling feel-good emotions, as you know I call them. And then this sends information to the brain, and the brain can then send messaging out to the body to fall in step, meaning neurologically, physiologically, biochemically, the heart feeling good and being in coherence sends a message to the brain, then goes out to the body, and the body responds as well. So what I'm saying here is your heart could actually lower your blood pressure itself. Your heart could send out a call for feel-good neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine, and you can shift into this coherent place yourself and affect your physicality. And that's the big one of the big points that I want to make here today is, through accessing your heart, you can actually access, or you can actually affect your physicality. So you can heal, you can feel better mentally, you can support your immune system, you can send healing messages to aches and pains. All kinds of physical conditions can be influenced when your heart brain is in coherence. And this heart brain is really at your disposal, and choosing your emotion impacts what coherence there is within your heart, and it influences that heart rate variability. So, and there's a wonderful institute you're probably familiar with, HeartMath, that actually measures and does a lot of research on our heart rate variability and seeing what happens when our heart rate is in a harmonious, coherent place, how that affects us mentally and physically, and then of course on the other end, when it's not, how that affects us mentally and physically. So this means that you can really affect your body by tuning into your heart. And HeartMath has a quick coherence exercise, and it's very simple to do, and it's very powerful to do. And I wanted to share it with you, especially now at the holidays, because I think there can be a lot going on. There can be drama, there can be just busyness, there can be extra activity, extra to-dos on your list, and a lot of things going on. And so it's a good time, a really good time to practice this quick coherence technique, because it doesn't take but a minute. And so the first step of the quick coherence technique is to focus on the area around the heart, and imagine as you're breathing that your breath is really flowing into and out of your heart, specifically the chest area, but really specifically the heart itself. And just start there. Start imagining that your breath is going right into that heart instead of into the lungs. When you inhale, see it going right into the heart. When you exhale, see it coming out of the heart. And slow your breath down a little bit, a little deeper and slower than usual, as you start to pay attention to the breath going right into the heart. And once you've done that to a point where you feel like you've gotten into a bit of a rhythm, the second step is to make a very sincere, this is important, it has to be a sincere attempt to experience what HeartMath calls a regenerative feeling, what I would call a feel-good feeling, but a regenerative experience, feeling like appreciation or care for someone. And this can be about someone in your life. It can be about a pet. It can be about an experience that you've had. It can be about a place that you've been. Maybe you love the beach. Maybe you love the mountains. Maybe you love your summer cabin from when you were a child. And you continue to breathe and see your breath going into your heart and coming out of your heart, while you sincerely focus your mind on this feeling of appreciation. And then you keep going, and you keep going, and you keep going until you find a place of peace, until you feel like something inside of you has slowed down. Something inside of you has shifted its focus, and especially something inside of you may have, and you can expect this, may have started to have a higher intuitive sense about your situation. This is a great practice to do when you have a decision to make, or when you're not sure. It's a great practice to help you not react to situations around you, but rather to respond. And by doing this quick coherence, you can get yourself in alignment with your heart so that your response is heartfelt, is intuitive, so that it's discerning, so that you're not run by the ego mind, which might make a decision based off of fear. You're in the heart, and you can make a decision based off of discernment, and off of love, and off of the energy and the vibration coming from your heart. So quick coherence is a really powerful exercise that you can do very simply in the spur of the moment. In the heat of the moment, when there's a lot going on, quick coherence is a great way to get that coherence, that resonance, that harmony back in your heart, so that you're leading your next steps from the heart. When you have more time, there's also a process from Gestalt psychotherapy that you can set two chairs facing each other, and one represents your mind and one represents your heart. Now, obviously, this exercise is not something you're going to probably do while you're out and about and something comes up, you're at a family holiday dinner, you might not do this. You might, I don't know, but you might not. But when you have a really big matter in your life that you're feeling conflicted about, you can set these two chairs facing each other. And if you sit on one side, identify that as your heart and speak from your heart and be speaking to your mind as your own heart. And then go ahead and switch over chairs and be speaking as your own mind to your heart. And go back and forth. And each should speak with just genuine, what they feel. But you'll probably notice that your heart is more authentic and more loving, and that your mind often has the fear, and that's what it's talking about, the what ifs, the future, the potential outcome, the risk, the unknowns. If you continue to go back and forth, let your heart and your mind have this communication, eventually, most often, you'll see that the heart is really speaking from your true self, and you'll know exactly what you want to do, So that's two techniques that you can use to be listening into your heart. I want to give one other today that is one of those quick and easy check-ins with the heart that you can do anywhere. You can do it in the absolute heat of a moment when you're about to react, whether that is react to another person or whether that is react by eating something that you've decided you're not going to eat because it's not healthy for you, or doing something else like skipping your workout, that kind of reaction as well. What you can do is simply place your hands over your heart. You could do that full quick coherence again, or do deep breathing and then ask, what do you have to say? What does my heart say? Speak directly to your heart, I prefer, and ask, what do you have to say? What would you have me do in this moment? That pause will bring you a very intuitive answer. And the last thing that I want to say is that any of these three techniques can be used to access higher mental clarity, decision making we've talked about, but also creativity. So if you are creating a holiday gathering, if you are creating a class, if you're creating a book, if you teach children at your church in their Bible study or something like that, anytime that you're doing something that's creative, if you're painting and you just want to align yourself with the coherence of the heart energy and the heart brain to take you to a new, higher creative level, any of these strategies and tools that I taught you today, these three techniques, any of them would work for that as well. So I encourage you and invite you to use these practices and techniques as you head into 2020, because again, it is the year of spirituality, and it is an opportunity energetically to really rise to a higher level than you've seen in your life before. And there's a shedding that takes place, and you might have been feeling that. I've been hearing that from so many people, that they're feeling that pain of the shedding and letting go of sometimes people in their lives, and sometimes career, and sometimes habits, and that can be painful, but it's all to lighten you up and have this ascension. And these practices for aligning with your heart brain and finding the heart coherence can be really, really helpful. So give them a try, and please share what is helpful to you in the comments below. I always love to hear how you've applied it and what it's meant for you. And thanks again for tuning in. This is Leah Lund from One Whole Health, and I hope you just have a beautiful, beautiful, peaceful, heartfelt Wednesday.